If you're struggling right now, just with life in general, this video is dedicated to you. And that it doesn't have to necessarily be about money. It can be about family. It can be about maybe a girlfriend or a spouse or a husband or a boyfriend. It could be about anything. If you could be rich, you could be poor, but you're going through that meat grinder right now. I want you to listen to me. I'm going through the same meat grinder. My personal life is in absolute shambles. My business life is like hitting a brick wall and no helmet while I'm hitting the brick wall. And that's how week 4 of my journey has gone. And if you don't know what my journey is, I made the decision 4 weeks ago to drop all the fear that I had about being recognized. Because I really started YouTube and TikTok, Instagram and Facebook to grow a dealership location called Beaumont RV. And I also used Facebook ads, and I learned about marketing and social media advertising because at Ventura RV Connection in Oxnard, California, the owner, his name's Martine, he didn't have, at the time, money for any kind of advertising. So I had to figure out this free stuff or cheap stuff that could spend $40 or $30 or $100. My point is I never thought I would go from 2018 to 2020-ish doing social media advertising to now I have 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, 15,000 on TikTok, and 5,000 on Meta, Facebook/Instagram. And now I'm almost 40 years old and I started a Snapchat. And the goal of these things for my journey is to become financially free. I want to develop this passive income from advertising dollars from these entities. And I was always afraid. I never put a lot of effort into it. I would put half-assed effort into the videos and the editing. And I did it more as a hobby, and I just finally made the decision, you know what? It no longer needs to be a hobby. It needs to be something that I put to use and get going in my life. But it's hard when you do that. When you make a decision like that, the hard part is that once you made that decision, there's all these, I don't know what you want to call them, obstacles, I guess, that keep popping up. And it's like when you drink, when you're quitting alcohol. When I quit drugs years ago, when I made the conscious decision to stop doing cocaine and marijuana and all that stuff, there's always these obstacles that get in front of you. And you have to bust through them. You have to just tear it through and just tear down the obstacles to hit your goal. But there's just that, you get that torn up feeling in your stomach where you can't sleep at night and your head starts hurting and you wonder, is it really worth it? And it is. It doesn't matter what it is in your life. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be, like I mentioned earlier, it could be just maybe a hobby or project you've been trying to do with. Maybe you're trying to rebuild a car. Send a kid to college. I would love for my allergies to go away. I keep sniffling all the time. It's like while I'm driving, I'm like, I want to tell people about this stuff because I've always been afraid to tell people stuff on the internet because I thought at the time, and this is why a lot of people have fear about this stuff, is because it could cost you your job. I could get, on the RV side of things, my job, I could get blacklisted for some of the things I say on YouTube to help customers with their RV purchase or with the sale of their RV, their current one. I mean, I literally, if somebody wanted to, they could put me on a list of people not to hire. But I still plow through. I still do it. So that's what I'm going to do with this channel. You know, there's a lot of fear mongering out there. Huge fear mongering that's going on within our worldview of things. Hamas is attacking Israel. Israel is attacking Hamas. There's pro-Palestine, pro-Israel. There's a war in Ukraine and Russia. You got countries out there that are making, I don't know, soft threats. I'm going to call it soft because I don't think anybody would ever launch a nuke. But, you know, there's soft threats about nuclear war and World War III. You got a presidential election coming up in which you got two political parties that do nothing but fighting and fear-mongering you. And then they use the corporate media like CNN and Fox News and MediaMax and MSNBC. You got conservatives and you got liberals that just want to pound you to death and hit you to death with garbage that comes out of their mouth. And while most of it is true or some form of the truth, at the end of the day, they just want to make you keep watching TV. That's all they want. They want you to sit in front of the TV because the more people that are afraid to go outside and live their life because something politically is going wrong. You know, when you're told so many times, this is a great example of something. I was telling my one of my coworkers this today. If you're sitting in front of Fox News right now and Hannity every night is just hammering you to death, telling you you can't afford food, you can't afford gas, you can't. When all you hear from anybody, from Anderson Cooper to whatever the lady's name is on MSNBC, to Ted Cruz, to Mitch McConnell, to every red pill, blue pill person out there, you can't. When you hear it from so many freaking people, you start to believe it. You start to believe that you got to stay in your little bubble and you can't do anything else. It's what keeps our middle class of America down and out is the independent and corporate media. If I didn't make a conscious decision to ignore Myron on was it Fit and some other garbage podcast, and if I kept listening to all the garbage from the red pill guys and the blue pill guys, all the independents that want to scare you to death on their podcasts every day, this is how it goes. Folks, I told you a long time ago, the corporate media is not covering this. Let me tell you. I mean, if you don't think that Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher and all these guys are not making tens of millions of dollars in ad revenue because they scare the living crap out of you every day, something's wrong. You know, when Mr. Beast, who's probably my second or third favorite YouTuber, when Mr. Beast does a video, it's always so positive. People wonder, why is it that Mr. Beast can get billions of views, more views on one single video than a Super Bowl? It's because there's no politics involved with Jimmy. Jimmy don't care about politics. Jimmy cares about entertaining people. and bringing positive energy to your life. And there's a ton of regular, normal YouTubers that we need to support more. We need to get rid of the idiots. Now, not all of us are going to do it. A lot of us are diehard Republicans or diehard liberals or diehard Biden people, and that's fine. The 15% of you hardcore liberals and conservatives, good luck to you. Go ahead and keep supporting your folks. Keep on sitting in front of the TV. Keep on screaming and yelling that the world is ending, that democracy is a threat, and all that stuff. Go ahead. But for the 85% of us, which is the super majority of Canadians and Americans and Mexicans and people around the world, turn off the red and blue pill media. Turn it off. Watch positive, energetic people, and you're going to realize that life is really not that bad. Let me give you a great example, guys. I'm going to turn off the lights for just a few minutes. Let me give you guys a little something to chew on here. When you watched Fresh and Fit podcast, Myron is a very intelligent guy. I can tell that all three guys that run that show are very intelligent. But if you take everything they say and do at face value, and men and women, this is not just for men, this is for women too. If you take everything they say at absolute face value, you will never be happy in life. First off, I will make this clear. They are right about 10% of the total population of the United States of America. Western women, men, listen to me very carefully. Western women are amazing. A lot of them are college educated. A lot of them have good careers. Not all of the college educated, not all the career driven women are going to be horrible wives. Women with high body counts can't be good wives. Yes, they can. My wife has a really high body count. That's okay. We are all young. And the problem with, and this is what people don't understand. Now, there is like excessive, okay? There's excessive stuff. We all know that. There's exceptions to the rule. But the majority of women, if a woman is 25, 26 years old, she's not used up. She's not ran through. If a woman has 8, 9 men that she has slept with since she's 18 to the time she's 26, there's nothing wrong with that. 15 men, okay. There's nothing wrong with the body count of a woman. What does matter is how she acts about it. If a woman flaunts it, that's a very small percentage. Most women that are high value women, women that are worth marrying, women that are worth dating, are the super majority of women. They can have kids, they can be from previous relationships. It doesn't matter. What matters is the connection between two people. That's what matters. The connection I have with my wife was absolutely outstanding. Now, we've run into rough patches our whole married life. And believe me, it's come to the point where it's almost ended several times. But when you can sit down with a spouse or a significant other and you can communicate and talk it out and be open and honest about things, about how you're feeling. If you're a guy and you can sit down and have a calm conversation, your woman's not doing something that you'd like her to do, she's going to come back to you and say there's things that she doesn't like that you're not doing. If you both can reciprocate and sit back and go, you know what? I'll work on that. That's how marriages work. That's how compromise works. That's how you grow and build an empire. And the empire may not be a financial empire. It could be just one of those incredible families that do a bunch of stuff in the community and are recognized for things. You don't have to be a red pill, blue pill person. Men, you are if you are a gentleman that wants to be a passport bro, I'm not going to tell you don't be one. What I am going to tell you is you're missing out on the majority of women because you keep going to bars, you keep going to nightclubs, you keep going to places where the hookup culture is. You're also going to places where men that have more money have more access to the women at a nightclub or a bar or a beach. The way average Joe wins an amazing woman is not through sitting your girlfriend in front of Myron and putting her through a lie detector test. Or I'm sorry, Sneeko and a lie detector test. It's an open conversation that starts with you making an approach. Well, girls just, they have cameras and there's a Me Too movement. Again, you're going up to the wrong women. You keep going up to the girls just like men do. Women approach men with expensive suits and expensive cars, and they screw it up a lot. Okay? A lot of women won't approach average Joe who works at a mechanic shop or a plumber. They don't approach us. They don't approach the blue collar guy that only makes 80 grand a year. They don't. They approach flashy things. But when we find a woman, we keep looking at, she's got a big booty, or she's got a tiny little waist and a big booty, or big boobies, or she's just dolled up. That girl's not looking for average Joe. That girl is gonna think you're creepy because she's looking to gold dig. She's looking for a different type of guy. She's not ready for the electrician. She's not ready because in her mind, she has not found the maturity yet. Watch this, guys. And ladies, if you're listening, listen. Men mature with life slower than women, but women mature in relationships slower than men. A lot of that's feminism, modern feminism. A lot of that is all this BS on the internet, okay? And it goes both ways. This is both men and women. All this BS, all this red pill, blue pill crap is splitting people apart instead of bringing them together. So stop looking at the 15% of people. Look at the 85% of people. Look at the girl at Starbucks who's just busting her butt to get through school. Look at the single mom that works 2 jobs. She's got 2 kids and her husband left her. So she's been busting her butt, working 2 jobs, and has no time for herself. That's the woman. These are the women that are strong and understanding and know how life works. They're not always looking for a meal ticket. If you feel like, you're second choice, I don't want to be second choice. Crap. Girls are always second choice, and they put up with it. Why can't we? And that's not a hot take. That's just a fact of life. It's very rare anymore that we be with one person our whole lives. A lot of times in high school, we have a high school sweetheart. We go through college and we have a couple of experiences in college. Whether we have a couple boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe we only have maybe we have a full-blown relationship. Maybe we're just a dirty slut like I was in college. Doesn't matter. What matters is when we find our person, we don't screw it up by listening to all the garbage and all the putrid stuff that comes out of these people's mouths. You know, and on another note, I know this will probably blow your mind, but on another note, stop worrying about how much money you make as a guy. Women, ladies, you need to listen to this. If anything that the ladies take into this, listen to this. This is going to be a little bit of a hot take because of feminism. But what a man makes in an income does not reflect his value. Okay? I don't know how many times I've met a lot of men that make huge amounts of money, sick amounts of money, through the industry I work in RVs. And let me tell you something. They're no treasure themselves. They might have a lot of money, but they don't have any idea how to treat people. None. And then I've met people that live a very modest life, and by the time they, I'll give you a great example. I have a great acquaintance of mine, an old high school friend of mine. His name is Chris. Okay, and I follow up with Chris on social media every once in a while. And Chris and his family immigrated from the Philippines here to the United States, and Chris lives a very modest life. He's a computer programmer. He makes $65,000 a year, which in California is not very much money, but that's what he was making. And he works 30 hours a week and 35 hours a week, and then he slowly built this e-commerce business with cigarette lighters. He does designer. I don't know, not designer, but he designs his own cigarette lighter exteriors. And they look awesome. And he's not killing it or he's making billions of dollars or anything, but he makes a decent living. But he lives very modestly. He has a nice 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house. He lives in a decent neighborhood. He's got 3 incredible kids. He's got a great woman by his side. And she works. She's an architect. They've been married now like 17 years. So the value of a man and the value of a woman have nothing to do with their bank account. It's how you treat people. It's how you treat life. Oh, but I want to be able to afford this and I want to be able to afford that. How about the fact that we don't know when we're going to die? Every one of us has an expiration date. Every single one of us. We don't get to know what that expiration date is until it comes. And no matter what we do, we cannot take any of the material things that we have on this world with us. Our clothes, our handbags, our cars, our suits will all be gone. Either thrown in the trash, put at the Goodwill, donated. Doesn't matter. Somebody else is going to own our possessions, or our possessions are going to end up in a landfill when we pass away, when we go. So all we have is a daily blessing. A daily blessing that we wake up on the right side of the dirt every single day. And while it's nice to have material things, don't get me wrong, I enjoy material things myself. I enjoy a lot of material things, but it doesn't run my life. I'll give you an example. I buy the majority of my clothes from a thrift store or on a clearance rack. Could have I years ago? Yeah. I could put everything on a credit card and go buy a bunch of Gucci and Louis Vuitton, and I could wear chains and big expensive watches, but I don't. I don't, because I know that there's more important things that I want to accomplish. I want to pay the price now so I can pay any price in the future. I don't know if this is helping you at all, but I used to do these talks live on TikTok a lot. I used to sit, I don't have the time as much as I used to. I used to sniffle through it and cough through it, but I'm in a unique situation as a human being that I can pull my own self up by my own bootstraps and go to work. But a lot of us need support. I like to be alone. I've been alone for a long time. It's nothing that bothers me or disturbs me or anything like that. It's interesting that all the hot take moments about Andrew Tate are always thrown out there about haram, haram, all that crap. But when you actually listen to him about other things, I'm not talking about the top G crap. I'm talking about like when him and Tristan are getting together and talking about just life in general. Like when you listen to them talk about the days when they were broke and poor, they smile at each other. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that, but if you ever watch Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan, and you watch when they talk about the days when they didn't have a car, or had a broke down car, or when they had to eat KFC, right at the beginning days of it, right? And you listen to those two talk, something magical happens between them. They smile. Nowadays, you don't get that much of a smile out of him. You get haram! I'm top G! I'm top G! Arr! Let me scream and yell and make everybody think that I'm the best and I'm the richest and I'm the greatest. I like the Andrew Tate. That's that calm, modest guy that has that smile because he survived something. I like the Mark Cuban that reminds himself of the days he sat down with his crew and dialed, I call it dialing for dollars, picked up the phone and just dialed up people and tried to get them to buy Maverick season tickets. I don't know, man. To me, I think there's a lot more to life than listening to idiots scream and yell in a camera all day. That's what I think. And, I used to have mass audiences when I used to talk about politics. And I didn't really talk about politics. I just talked about money and talked about the differences. And I did it for a while because I wanted to help people. And one of the things that we really need to help each other with as human beings is just putting our political BS aside and just go back to being, in my case, going back to being Americans. We're not Democrat or liberal or moderate or conservative. I mean, they can have it. Don't teach it to my kids, but you can have it. You can have everything you want. It's a free country. We're human beings. It's free will. Just don't shove it in my kids' faces. Don't shove sexuality of any kind to my kids. I don't want my kids at 12 years old learning what a penis and vagina are. I mean, yes, biologically, sure, they should understand it, but they should never, ever, until they get into high school, until they get closer to high school, they shouldn't be knowing about what sexuality is. You know, that's my job. My job is when they come across something, my job as dad, my wife's job as mom, is to give them the innocent version of the knowledge. You know, this whole thing about, and this is the other thing you guys have to realize, like, if you want something to change, you have to stop repeating the same behavior. Like, everybody wants Disney to change back to what Disney represented, which is princesses. I mean, we love strong princesses, don't get me wrong. I liked, The Princess and the Frog. I loved that movie. I loved the music and the characters. I love the idea, the strong character of the young lady Tiana, that Tatiana or Tiana, I can't remember all the way, that's opening her own restaurant and has this big goal and dream. That's like the American dream right there. That isn't feminism. That's the American dream. You don't have to be a woman to want it. You could be a man or a woman and to open up your own restaurant and to have this big grandiose dream of what you were going to do, and that you're almost there. I resonate and can I can like totally relate with that song. You know, like, I don't have time for dancing. That's just gonna have to wait a while. Ain't got time for messing around. And, you know, most folks want to take it the easy way. I know exactly where I'm going. And I'm getting closer and closer every day, 'cause I'm almost there. I'm almost there. People gonna come here from everywhere, 'cause I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Oh, you're bringing out my singing voice today. So anyway, I want to get back to that Disney. I want to get back to Disney where they were doing like the Great Mouse Detective and Rescuers Down Under, the real Little Mermaid, and the real Aladdin, and the real Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Not all this fake, gotta plug something in that makes this particular portion of the world happy. Because every time you do that, every time they try to force an agenda into a kid's show or kid's movie, it bombs and tanks. So I'd love to see just everything to go back to being something that is for the masses. Okay? The 85% of the world. We need to go back to making content for the 85%, not for the 15%. Because if you take the 15% of people, it's broken up into small little tiny groups. Here's an example of the small tiny groups. The hardcore right conservative, the hardcore right winger. You know, very Christian and hypocritical Christian conservative. That everybody's wrong except for my Christian values. That guy. Or the guy that, oh my God, like, Mommy, they called me, they call me a man, and I don't identify as a man. I identify as a fox. Or whatever. They're broken up in such small groups that you got to entertain the 85% before you can plug little things in for the 15%. oh my God, my knee hurts. I mean, then you have a small group of people that are the loudest screwballs on God's green earth, and they just jump on whatever trend there is. I mean, they jumped on the ozone layer. Now they're jumping on some other thing and some other thing and some other thing. And they jump on whatever trend can get them attention. But we got to satisfy those people because they're the loudest people on TikTok. Come on, man. I mean, let's get back to the basics. And the basics are, let's get back to what resonates with 85% of the world, 85% of the United States, 85% of China, 85% of Russia, 85% of Europe. Let's get back to the basics of we concentrate on the masses and then we plug in things that help with the small groups. And it has nothing to do with race, guys, because the 85%, this is what's interesting. This is what gets people in trouble and gets people mad. The 85% of the world, of America, of Canada, of Mexico, are all different races, different religions, different genders, different sexes, different cultures, different economic statuses. Okay. So if you gave a survey out to 1,000 random people across the world, and you said you're never going to get in trouble, no one's ever going to find out, but tell us what you really think about feminism, modern day feminism, and modern day red pill male misogynistic toxic masculinity. Most people would write the words, what is that? Or doesn't affect my life. 85% of people would tell you that modern day feminism, the blue pill, and modern day toxic masculinity, which is the red pill, they don't affect everybody's daily life. If they actually sat back and thought about it, if nobody talked about it, let me put it this way, if the media never talked about transgenders, transgender people, never talked about OnlyFans, never talked about passport bros, never talked about any of the social problems that we have in various pockets of the world. The super majority of people that just live their everyday life, they never know about it because, I'll give you an example. If you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, or small town Iowa, and you have half the town's black, half the town's white, they never know there was a problem because they just get along. Because in those folks' eyes, they're all Americans. Most of them farmers or factory workers. They work with their hands. They don't have time for oh my God, he's treating me bad because I'm white. Oh my God, he's a misogynistic pig. Oh my God, she's not a high value woman because she's on OnlyFans. They wouldn't care. The super majority of people don't care about things that don't affect their everyday life. What affects people's everyday life? I'm going to tell you. Cost of food, cost of gasoline, cost of housing. Again, something that your skin color doesn't matter. Your culture, your religion, it still costs you the same. You could be a black man or black woman or Mexican man or Mexican woman or a white man or a white woman. You could be straight, gay, non-binary, transsexual, transgender. You could be any of those things. And we still have the same problems in this country. And the problem is price of food, price of gas, price of energy, and price of housing. Those are the everyday problems that affect us. And yet they want to throw curveballs at us. Like, oh, our problem in this country is guns. Okay, let's look at that. So the places that have people walk around with open carry firearms have less crime than people that have been told you can't have weapons at all. I mean, isn't that shocking? Look at statistically. I'm not talking about an entire state, because an entire state, there's so many different pockets of politicalness. Like in Texas, you have Austin, Texas is very liberal, and Dallas, Texas is purple, and Houston, Texas is purple. And in your outsourced towns and counties and small areas like San Antonio are all red, hardcore red conservative. Oregon, another great example of something you have to look at the small little areas, because most of Oregon's very rural and very external and not big city like Portland, right? But the majority, like for example, the crime rate in Nye County, where I live in Nevada, is an open carry county, and violent crime is rare. It is really rare. It's an open carry county, and you don't hear about people shooting each other. There's other crimes, drugs, prostitution, which prostitution is legal, but there's other crimes that are being committed. It doesn't stop crime completely, but I'm talking about violent crime per capita is a lot smaller in Nye County than it is in Southern California, because we have an open carry gun law. It's harder to be a human being, and I want you to think about it like this, guys, because I think that a lot of folks, no matter if you're liberal or conservative, no matter if you're down the middle moderate, I want to take our right to bear arms out of it. Let's take the Second Amendment out of it for a second. Okay, let's just look at human instinct. Okay, if you're a psychopath or a sociopath, or you're someone that has a violent tendency to hurt people, a small percentage of those people are going to do a violent crime. They're going to hurt somebody, kill somebody. They're going to do something dumb, no matter what's going on. Okay? For example, Hitler didn't care that he was outgunned, outmatched, and he didn't have the population or the firepower. Yeah, he just still marched everywhere he wanted to. Okay? But the rest of them have an instinct of survival. So if you got a guy that he's going to go get a gun and he's going to go shoot people at something, maybe a university, or maybe maybe some other business gathering or party or whatever. Is he if his first priority in his mind is going to be survival, and he knows that, for example, a university has, let's say, 2 staff members in every classroom that are armed and trained to shoot a weapon of any kind, bow and arrow, firearm, whatever it may be. Okay? Is he more likely going to go after a place that doesn't have people at firearms, or people that do have firearms? You're right. He's going to go to the place that doesn't have anybody that's armed. He's going to go to the easiest target, and the target in which he can survive. Okay? The reason why a lot of the other worlds in this country and in the world, a lot of other countries in this world do not have this problem, this firearm problem of people going around shooting other people, is because of the fact that the majority of your schools, for example, in Mexico, it's very rare, unless it's a drug cartel thing, it's very rare that one guy just decides to wake up one day and he decides he wants to terrorize a school, or terrorize a grocery store, or terrorize a movie theater. is extremely rare. It very rarely happens. Most of the violence is gang member on gang member or drug cartel on somebody owes them money or pissed them off or something of that nature. But when it comes to children, no, I don't screw with them. They lock the doors. They're all fenced in. They're all behind secured doors. And they have somebody that is armed at some point. They have an off-duty police officer. They have a former military person there. It's a deterrent. Firearms in citizens' hands is a deterrent. It's not going to stop everybody, but it'll cut it down big time. And you may disagree with me. And it's okay if you disagree with me, because that's what this country's all about. This country's okay having that debate. Do I believe somebody should have an automatic weapon in their house? You know, like a machine gun? No. Do I believe they could have a single-shot rifle or a semi-automatic weapon? Absolutely. I have a hunting rifle myself and a handgun. I've never had to discharge it at a human being, ever. The supermajority of gun owners have never had to fire the weapon in violence towards another human being. But remember something, and this is where I get a little, like, I start running off into tangents. But just remember something, okay? Remember that we have a world in which criminals will find a way to access weapons. If they're gonna break the law, they're gonna go all out and break the law. There's no stopping them. So if you disarm your citizens, they have no way of protecting themselves from criminals that are going to access weapons. Oh man, I'm tired. 8:46. 3 hours away from the hotel room. Well, I think that's everything. So I will see you next week. And we'll see if it gets any better. I'm not gonna film every day of my life. I'd rather just talk to you like this. So hopefully you found this okay. Hopefully you found this enlightening. And we'll see how week 5 goes.